Hello, good morning, and welcome aboard to AM News. My name is Denisia Pomaije. In our very first story, final burial rites for the late Member of Parliament for Ayawaso East constituency, Nazar Ture Mahama, gets underway this morning following his passing on Sunday. The fourth-term NDC MP died at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital after a period of illness. Constituents and colleague MPs have trooped to his private residence to mourn with his family, eulogizing him as a calm politician who did his work with honesty. James Aveji was there and reports.
It's a solemn atmosphere here at the private residence of the late Member of Parliament for Ayawaso East constituency, Honorable Nazar Ture Mahama, whose death occurred in the early hours of Sunday. Until his demise, he served on a number of committees in Parliament, especially as a deputy chairman of the Energy Committee, also serving on committees such as the Roads, Housing Committee, as well as the Private Members Bill and Private Members Motions Committee in Parliament. A number of constituents, family members, as well as his colleague MPs are trooping in here in order to condole with the family, with some of them describing him as a calm and an honest Member of Parliament they have dealt with in the last 12-13 years that he's been in Parliament, serving now on his fourth term.
You're good man, you're good offer. Me to me catch you. A dosso, Obia Nemonaza, Obia and Papa, when any papa. Now, me funny can see, and if I can see before that's. Andrew, I see enemy be saying he keeps to our saying he no see Andrew and I'll say no fan.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. He's the caucus chairperson, and I remember when we were rising, he came to my office to discuss issues about his caucus with me, and he was the last person who left my office. And I said, Honorable, I know you can leave so that I handle it. So no, let everybody leave so that I have some discussion with you. And privately, we had our discussions. Nobody knew that was the last moment he was going to talk to me. So let's take it as it is.
Every day he's present in the house. Go and check our this attendance. Every day he's there. He will be there from the beginning to the end. And he's one of the honest person I've ever met in my life. When he says A is A, when he says B is B, he won't tell you red and then you go and come back and see blue. No, he's a good person. We have lost a good person.
In the last few hours.
As you can see here, currently the body is in there. The wife is also there with family and friends, trying to console her. For us, we all know she's not taking it lightly, and it's not easy for those of us even who are his younger brothers. It's not easy for us, let alone the wife. We were able to fast track the process to get the body. As we're speaking now, we have brought the body home, but as customs demands, God willing, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, the prayer will be observed on him at the Kanda Highway, where his office is. His constituency office is just on the Kanda Highway. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, His Eminence, the National Chief Imam, will lead the Janaiza prayer for him. From there, we will take him to Medina Cemetery.
It has been a very sad atmosphere here as his family members, including MPs, wish his soul a perfect rest, as we all pray for strength for his wife and children. From the late Nazar Ture Mahama's private residence here in Chado, I am James Aveji reporting for Joy News.
And once again, our deepest condolences to the family. Moving on, Executive Director of Climate Frontier Advocacy, CFA, Dr. John Baptist Nah, has urged the government to intensify efforts against illegal mining by declaring a targeted state of emergency in affected areas. While commending the Mahama-led administration for steps taken so far, he argued that current measures fall short of tackling what he describes as high-tech Galamsey, characterized by the use of heavy machinery and rapid large-scale environmental destruction. Dr. Nah is therefore calling for the immediate declaration of a state of emergency in Galamsey hotspots, a temporary ban on all illegal mining activities, including small-scale operations, and the freezing of unauthorized mining concessions to halt further damage. Joining us, Upper West Region correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
According to the founder and executive director of Climate Frontier Advocacy, CFA, Dr. John Baptist Nah, the purpose of the press conference is to throw further light on illegal small-scale mining, otherwise known as Galamsey, and its crippling and debilitating environmental, social, and economic effects on the citizenry in the long-term perspective. Dr. John Nah asserted that traditional Galamsey, which was practiced during the days of yore, has now become what he termed as high-tech Galamsey, HEG. This HEG is a practice where there is deliberate and frequent use of heavy earth-moving machines to excavate and obliterate the earth surface in search of gold hidden under the belly of the earth. He used the following statistics to buttress his claim.
The primary forest cover in Ghana has been shrinking ferociously. It was 8.8 million hectares in 1900. It reduced to 4.2 million hectares in 1950, and further reduced to 1.5 million hectares in 1999. Can you imagine how much primary forest cover is now left in the midst of this ferocious high-tech Galamsey menace? Your guess is as good as mine. The once sacred, clean, and life-giving rivers have sadly turned into brown and poisoned rivers as a result of the relentless practice of high-tech Galamsey.
The air engineer and applied scientist spoke of the consequences if illegal mining is allowed to continue.
It has the potential of causing food insecurity, water scarcity, and more climate shocks now and in the future for Ghanaians. Our farmlands, natural habitats for wildlife, including flora, are not also spared. And we are showing no agency in this matter. The reality of leadership and accountability in the fight against this high-tech Galamsey.
Whilst commending the Mahama-led administration for demonstrating genuine willingness to tackle illegal mining head-on, he is of the firm belief that the measures are not enough to match the speed, sophistication, and ferocity of the HEG machines still operating in the country.
Mr. President, CFA's good score for your efforts in the high-tech Galamsey fights is not better enough, as best score is expected of you by Ghanaians. Mr. President, your legacy as the two-time heavyweight presidential champion as Sami Temet will not be complete without winning the high-tech Galamsey fights during your tenure. It is also our view that the creation of the Office of the Minister of State for Climate and Sustainability may be an exercise in futility if this high-tech Galamsey fight is not won.
The Executive Director of Climate Frontier Advocacy, CFA, therefore called on the government to declare what he called targeted state of emergency.
This urgent is the immediate declaration of a targeted state of emergency on high-tech Galamsey hotspots to halt the ongoing destruction. We are also recommending that there should also be a temporary ban or temporary suspension of, pause, or ban on all illegal operations, including small-scale mining now, or freeze unauthorized mining concessions. We also strongly recommend a national dialogue or a stakeholder summit on this subject matter to discuss sustainable reforms in the small-scale mining sector. We are also of the opinion that NIMOS should be insulated from political influence and given much more resources and personnel to operate, together with a united front, to enforce the proposed temporary ban and the targeted states of emergency on the ground. We also advocate for unbreakable, unshakable political will from the Mahama-led regime with absolute majority now and overwhelming victory in the 2024 general elections to fight and win this high-tech Galamsey fight, but not excuses or retreat.
Reporting for Dway News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Let me now take you to the Central region, where the Member of Parliament for Cape Coast South and Deputy Majority Leader George Kweku Ricketts-Hagan has projected 2026 as a turning point for Ghana's economic recovery and transformation. Addressing constituents at an annual end-of-year party, Honourable Ricketts-Hagan stated that while the economy had suffered under the previous administration, the Mahama-led government is steadily implementing its resetting agenda to restore stability and growth, with the new year expected to bring significant improvements.
Joy and unforgettable excitement cloaked the day as hundreds of children from across the Cape Coast South constituency gathered for what is described as an unprecedented party organized by their Member of Parliament, George Kweku Ricketts-Hagan. The Metropolitan Chief Executive of Cape Coast, George Justice Arthur, shared an overview of the occasion.
Today is 4th January 2026 that we are having our usual party with the Honourable Member of Parliament, Honourable George Kweku Ricketts-Hagan, here at the same venue. And this is something that Honourable has been doing. Now the idea is that at the end of the year, the Honourable Member of Parliament wants to dine with the children in his constituency. And this is unprecedented. We thank Almighty God for our lives.
Speaking to the gathering, the Member of Parliament for Cape Coast South, George Kweku Ricketts-Hagan, noted that 2026 is the year to improve the economy of Ghana.
2026 is going to be a promising year. A lot of the things that we could not do in 2025 because we have just come to power, back to power. And we have to put a lot of things right because the economy had been destroyed by the previous government. Therefore, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in what he called resetting Ghana's economy, we need to work hard to get to where we are today. Now, His Excellency, President Mahama, and the Vice President, Her Excellency, Aunt Nana Akufo-Addo, are ready to take Ghana to another level.
He also advised the children to prioritize hard work for future development.
You can be the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. You can be a leader in Parliament. You can be a parliamentarian. You can be the Chief Executive, the Mayor. You can be Assembly members. And you can be executive in all the places that we have placed people as executive. The future of Ghana is for you, the children. And you must work hard that the future that we will hand over to you is a future that you can take it forward to develop the country.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lissel and Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
From the Central region, let me take you to the Bunuis region. In Sine West, the roads are not just bad. They are a blockade, strangling the local economy and severing communities. Now, the local MP is taking unprecedented action, personally injecting 100,000 Ghana cedis to get vital road machines moving again. But his move underscores a deeper crisis, the collapse of critical infrastructure and a nationwide call to move beyond political promises to permanent depoliticized solutions. Anna Sabit has more.
Afe pesi so a ka bia so ntimi mfam kwan no nyina tutu amana empo nipa kora wo nante no den so be nante ye hu sa abare bia so aba se obeye kwan ya maye
This is not a remote path. This is a major road in the Cedi West district, a lifeline now severed, crippling communities and choking livelihoods. The deplorable state of roads here is a national issue with local consequences. Economic activity is grinding to a halt, and the Member of Parliament for Cedi West, Honorable Chumasi Ampofu, says the time for mere promises is over.
Very, very deplorable. So the development is very slow or very low. Even motorbike, you find it difficult to go through. It's so sandy, so muddy during rain time, and the road sometimes, when it rains, you don't see the road. Period. For a long time that we don't reshape the roads. So technically, it's not a road. We are beginning everything. So that's what I can say.
The drip machines are already here, but often sit idle due to lack of funds for fuel and maintenance. The MP's donation is a local stopgap, but his bigger proposal is for a dedicated national fund.
So as a Member of Parliament, I have to do what I have to do. I'll do my best. I know my funds are not much, but so far as the machines are here, we need to utilize the machines. But I think going forward, there should be funding for the machines, the drip machines. That can help, reshaping the roads. But as a start, I promise giving them 1 billion as the drip coordinator and his team to begin with.
But palliative care is not enough for some arterial roads. The MP saved his strongest criticism for the abandonment of a critical project, the Atebu Kwame Danso Road.
Our main road, Atebu Kwame Danso, is also a major issue. Major issue. But I hope, now that we are in power, I believe that President will come to our aid. President himself has come here several times. When we were in power, the road was under construction. But when we left power and MPP came for 8 years, they didn't tackle the road. Close to the election that they brought contractor on the road, which we knew that it was an election road that they were going to do. And exactly that's what they did. So I'm going to push, and I'm still pushing. So that's what I can say. We are praying that we get a lot of support.
From Cedi West, the message is clear. The road to development is literally broken. And while a community-funded machine might begin the patchwork, what's ultimately required is a national commitment to follow through. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Kwame Danso.
And back here in Accra, Christians across Ghana mark the first Sunday of 2026 with special church services offering prayers of thanksgiving, reflection and hope for the year ahead. From the early hours of the morning, churches in Accra and other parts of the country were filled with worshippers, many dressed in white and bright colors, symbolizing renewal and fresh beginnings. The services were marked by praise, worship and prayers alongside messages encouraging gratitude, faith, perseverance, and a renewed commitment to spiritual growth in the new year. My colleague Rodlin Abensa has more in the following report.
The clergy used the occasion to encourage Christians to commit the new year into God's hands, urging them to work in wisdom, discipline, and compassion. Sermons focused on themes such as divine guidance, peace of mind, good health and resilience in the face of economic and social challenges. Delivering his New Year sermon, the General Overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Pastor Mensa Otabo, urged Christians to place greater emphasis on sound biblical teaching rather than the pursuit of miracles, describing doctrine as the true foundation of the Christian faith.
So when you read the book of Acts, you see a lot of miracles happening. There are miracles of cripples walking, people being raised from the dead. None of those miracles happened in the church. All of those miracles happened outside the church. People didn't go to church for miracles. They didn't go to church to receive a miracle. They went to church to be taught. That is not to say God does not work miracles, but most of the miracles, even the miracles of Jesus, he worked them outside of his disciples. So far as I know, there is no record of any disciple or apostle of Jesus who was directly healed by Jesus. But the apostles were directly taught by Jesus, because the Christian faith begins with knowing what to believe in. It's not based on knowing where to get something from. What do you know about God? What do you believe about God? What do you know about Jesus? What do you believe about Jesus? What do you know about the Holy Spirit? What do you believe about the Holy Spirit? And we're going to have a 242 church. Then we must emphasize the apostles' doctrine. The doctrine that Jesus taught his apostles, which they recorded for us. Where do we find it? In Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's the first pillar of the church.
Meanwhile, founder of the Royal House Chapel International, Apostle General Reverend Sam Kwanche Ankra, assured congregants that 2026 will be a year of divine transformation. He called on believers to remain confident in God's active involvement in their lives, dismissing claims that God is absent from human affairs.
And I came here to let you know that the God who has brought you this far is your helper. Jehovah is your helper. God will help you. You will navigate. You have started well. You will finish well. If you are the one I am talking, clap your hands and say, I am the one.
I am the one.
They said, nobody will help us. They will see our God coming through to help us. Clap your hands and say, oh my Father.
Oh my Father.
Bring me help. There are those who say God is not there to help us. We dare them. They should come and see. At the end of the year, December, we will not be the same as we entered. Yes. There is going to be a change and a transformation. Something will change about us. Something will change. Something will change.
As services ended, worshippers left with renewed purpose, hopeful that 2026 will bring progress, answered prayers, and spiritual growth. For many, the first Sunday of the year was not just about reflection. It was a call to carry hope and perseverance into the new year ahead. Rodalyn Abensa's report read to you.
It's now time for some business news. Guess who's bringing us that? The Hunter Pele Sawo Kojibris, right after this.
Let's do business and senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amwa, is urging government to adopt sustainable measures to preserve the Cedi's recent gains, warning that doing so will be crucial to cushioning businesses in 2026. His remarks follow reports that the Cedi ended 2025 as the fourth best performing currency in Africa. He spoke to Joy Business.
In the currency market, especially, you cannot have a stable currency. It's not possible. You cannot have stability. What you can have is the currency hovering within a predictable band. That is what you need to expect, because no currency will forever be stable at a particular point throughout. It will go up, it will decrease, up, decrease. But then the band must always be manageable. And that is why, in our case, we have been told by BOG that we are working within the band of 10 and 12. That should give market participants some assurance in terms of planning. So long as the value of the currency hovers within the 10 and 12, that is predictable, I think businesses should be able to plan within this particular range. Of course, it may go up a little, but it is more predictable now. And that should be able to deal with the volatility that one expects on the market. One expects that going forward, policymakers will still be committed to make sure that we see a strong Cedi in the year 2026.
And that's all in business updates. This one, back to you, Deresia.
Thank you, dear Hunter Pele Sawo Kojibris. And that's it for AM News. Don't forget that if you want more news, I know a place, myjoyonline.com. My name is Denise Yapomaide. Enjoy the rest of the show. Sports is up next.
And a happy new year to you and yours. I wish you all the best for this 2026. Thank you so much for always choosing us every morning. And I am MFA Akosiadati. Joining me this morning for the news review in tackling a lot of matters arising is Awal Mohammed, member of NEPA Patriotic Party Communications Team, and Godwin Ayaba Mahama, Corporate Affairs Officer, Thermal Oil Refinery and Government Spokesperson. A little later, we shall be joined by lawyer Vicky Bright later. But for now, we'll start the conversation. Gentlemen, Happy New Year.
Thanks, my dear.
Ah, oh, wow.
Happy returns.
Did any of your Christian friends invite you for jollof?
No.
They didn't?
No.
Salah will come. Salah comes in.
But I had a lot of wishes. I had a lot of... some even sent me Momo.
Oh, then
yes. Some even sent me Momo. Interesting, some of them are even NDC people.
Ah.
Yes.
Your
jollof would have just been a book.
It would have
exactly.
Just been a
At least for the money. How much was it?
How are you ending somebody's movement?
I'm not disclosing. So I can take my share.
How would you want to enter his account?
You didn't even give me anyone.
It's the start of the 2026. A lot has been happening. I mean, I think nearly the whole world is quite shocked about Trump's decision to want to enter into a sovereign country. We'll talk about that. But back here home, the year has started. How is it looking for the government? What are your expectations generally?
Thank you so much, and good morning, cherished viewers, and my brother, and a happy new year to all Ghanaians. I think we expect nothing more than implementation of what is in the 2026 budget, which has started in earnest. You know, first of this month, we were slapped with the 9% increment in electricity and the 15%. Apart from that, they have rolled out a lot of policies that and programs that they believe that within this 2026 they will be able to really implement them. We expect a departure from last year, because last year the government did not spend, especially on the programs that will give a lot of the youth jobs. You know, because I had worked at a youth employment before, so anytime I look into any budget, I look at opportunities for the youth. Last year, the government budgeted 300 million Ghana cedis for the National Apprenticeship Program. They only released 21 million Ghana cedi. They budgeted 100 million cedis for the CODES program. They didn't even release a single cedi. They still had budgeted the same amount. When you check the Nkokon Keten, that also was only launched last year. So we expect a full implementation of the Nkokon Keten this year, so that a lot of people will get opportunity. When you check the National Entrepreneurship Program, they budgeted 100 million and gave them only 35 million. And they have again budgeted 100 million for them. For the apprenticeship, they scale it down to 160. We pray and hope that even if it is 100 million that is given, a lot of the youth will get employment opportunities. So we expect that there will be a departure from last year, where the government was trying to control inflation. So the expenditure was very low. Even when you check CAPEX, the amount of money they voted into CAPEX, they didn't even do up to 50%. Goods and services, they budgeted 5.6. They were only able to really release around 2.5. So even the ministries, department, agencies were not running efficiently. So we expect that at least what is in the budget, ATO will be able to spend for Ghanaians to get some respite.
Okay. Is there any single thing or anything the government did last year that particularly excited you, that you saw that was a good thing?
Well, maybe because Gordon is here, I would say the revival of Tema Oil Refinery, which came
If he wasn't here?
No, I'm saying that it is something that even when we entered, we're talking about it, that really Combat did so well. Even though he did not keep to his timeline, but I was happy he's able to really bring it on stream. You know, initially they said by October they should be able to start their refinery, which some of us were a bit skeptical about it. But by December, he's able to do it. So at least 2 months late, but he was able to do it. So revival of Tema Oil Refinery, we expect that if they do a lot of the refine, we may not import a lot. And that will also help the stability of the city. And again, we might see some reduction, even though this government do not want to give the reduction to the Ghanaian. You remember when the when the dollar has come down to around 10, the world market price of crude has come to around 62.58, between 58 and 62. And everything points to the fact that we could have bought the fuel for like 8 to 10 cedis per liter. But unfortunately, the government implemented the 1 cedi doomsday levy that did not really bring us down for us to get all these. So that's one of the reasons I'm saying that, well, even though I am happy that Tema Oil Refinery is coming, but I believe that we should have some cascading effect down there so that the Ghanaian will get the benefit of it. We have seen reduction in fuel prices, but last year, when you're going to Kumasi, you pay somewhere around, that is 2024 now, last year will be 2025. In 2024, we'll pay around 100 cedis, the standard bus from Kumasi to, from Accra to Kumasi. This year, yes, this year is around 120, but we've seen reduction in fuel prices. So that's the reason I certainly believe that if the Tema Oil Refinery comes on stream, maybe we will have,
it will bring some
relief to Ghanaians, yes.
Okay. At least, well, I'm certain that the government watching today will be quite excited because none other than Awal has praised them, has praised them about something. I'll come to you shortly, but maybe let me come to you, Godwin, first of all. Godwin, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How did the year end for you, and how was it starting for you this year? Of course, we've seen tour, but personally, how did it end for you last year?
Let me say a very good morning to you and my co-panelists. Last year actually ended very well.
Okay.
Particularly when it comes to the revival of Tema Oil Refinery, because it has been one of the companies that Ghanaians are so much interested in, because should TOR be able to stand on its feet, there is that tendency that Ghanaians are going to get a full benefit when it comes to energy security and reduction in terms of prices of finished products. So Ghanaians have always followed keenly when it comes to the journey of Tema Oil Refinery. So I was so excited that the year ended with Tema Oil Refinery officially resuming operations. The fact is that we actually finished the turnaround maintenance work in October as we had communicated earlier, because the whole work started on the 1st of August, and we gave the TAM team 3 months to finish in October 31st, which indeed they did. What actually delayed, which a while, is that, you know, normally when you finish, you need to write to your regulatory body, which is MPA, for them to come and do some inspections and see if you meet international engineering and safety standard. Then they can now give you the clearance to indicate that you are fit and everything is good and you can now start refining. So actually the entire work got finished within that 3 month space, but we needed that clearance before we can officially
I think that we'll stay in the excitement, because we like to think that for a company you considered all of these things, knowing that NPA has to do this, other requirements, but you gave us an emphatic.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that because we don't know, because the other party being NPA, we don't know their schedule. You get the point? So you may write to them thinking maybe today, tomorrow they will come and do the assessment.
Okay.
But they equally have their internal schedule, which it must fit within their schedule. So it was out of our control. So as I said, the year ended very well for me. And on the part of the government, actually the government has done very, very, very well. Very, 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 very well. Because if you look at the country that was handed over to this current administration, I quite remember former President Akufo-Addo once said that he knows very well that Ghana is not standing well, and the new government will come and take the country out of the rules. And indeed it was true, because if you look at fuel price as at 2024, if you look at inflation as at 2024, if you look at debt to GDP as at 2024, if you look at the debt hanging on the neck of the country, and today you compare with the solid work being done by the government, you have no option than to praise the government. Because one, fuel today is being sold at averagely around 11 Ghana Cedi. Debt to GDP today is moving around 45%. Today we are recording single-digit inflation. food inflation is around 6.6%. Yes, even though I have heard people say that they are not getting the real effect of the reduction of inflation. However, what we must also know is that the system we run, because we are not running this controlled market system where the government will have to determine prices of goods and services. You know that. But what is also not in doubt is that some products, some goods and services has indeed gone down. Yes or no? So we must acknowledge the fact that all those economic figures that we are recording has had some positive effect on the goods and services of this country. I know Oliver Twist will always ask for more. We are hoping that in 2026, Ghanaians will get further benefit when it comes to the good economic records we are recording. Because if for nothing at all, the NPP handed over a government which was almost at every point in time being rated by international ratings, Moody's, Fitch, and others as a junk economy. Today we are being rated at around B+. So for me, 2025 has been correct. And going into 2026...
He referenced Fitch and...
Yes. No, it's not B+.
Yeah, Moody's.
I'm saying that it's not B+. We left it as CAAA+.
You were
with positive outlook. And you are now B-. So it was just moving on a trajectory.
Yeah.
Well, you don't say B-, B+.
No, compared to
when it's B-.
Comparatively...
It's not even
but junk is definitely different from the rating. That's completely different. If you took an exam and you failed, it's not the same
exactly.
And the others that...
No, but we all know that the economy that was handed over to us, obviously, cannot be better than what we are enjoying today. That's what I'm trying to just express. That is an expression I am trying to make. That is what I was trying to make the point.
Let me welcome Vicky. Happy New Year. It's such an embarrassment to come and wish you here when I could have wished you personally. I hope you're well.
Better late than ever. I'm very well.
Had a good Christmas.
How are you?
Very well,
I
thank
did.
you.
Quiet.
Very. Okay, yeah, I think it's the best
Restful.
Christmas you can have.
Yes.
Has the year started well for you? And looking at the government and how 2025 ended, has it started quite well for you?
I think, yes. I mean, let me just say a simple yes, because I think last year was all about stabilization, and I think we can fairly say that we achieved, or the government achieved that, because things were quite tough after the DDEP for everyone. All Ghanaians felt it in their homes, and businesses felt it in their businesses. So I think from that point of view, we did, or the country achieved stabilization, and debt is now under control. Both our domestic and foreign debt is under control. So I'll say that the president's first year really focused on damage control, laid down a lot of groundwork. Is stabilizing the patient or steadying the ship. You know, now we need to make the patient strong. So that is about delivery. For me, 2026 is all about delivery. And for the government to put its money where its mouth is, because I believe that delivery is what will now define President Mahama's next 3 years in office, to be honest. We're looking for jobs. We're looking for productivity. We're looking for visible institutional reforms. I would say that the youth in some quarters feel that they have renewed hope. What they now want are real jobs and skills, not the temporary kind of makeshift job, but real permanent jobs and skills, and a chance really to build a future for themselves. So I would say that stability has bought our president a lot of goodwill and some time, but I think year 2 will show Ghanaians how he chooses to use that goodwill and time, because political goodwill, as we know, can just disappear like that. So I would like to think that he'll continue to build on that. And Ghanaians have high expectations. Ghanaians have very high expectations. I'd like to think that there are exciting times ahead. What I want to see is a lower cost of living, and as I said, this, jobs, especially for our youth. A lot of them have got qualifications and they are sitting at home or doing something that really they shouldn't be doing because they are overqualified for those jobs. I want to see action on corruption. We want some tangible results on that front. We want an intensifying of the fight against Galamsey. We want people to be brought to book, irrespective of which political party they are affiliated with or who they are in our society. Because we all know, I mean, we spent most of last year talking about Galamsey,
yeah.
And here we are in 2026. I'm not sure we've even made a dent in winning the fight. So I would like to see something seriously done on that, a serious Galamsey fight. We need to protect our water bodies, consistent enforcement, and protection of our farming communities, and clear alternative livelihoods for the affected,
Vicky, in all of these expectations, which one do you think the government should start with first? What should be the focus, especially because before you came in, Awal had drawn our attention to the fact that government was really not spending last year, and even the budgetary allocations that they would have spent in creating jobs, they didn't spend much. As of the last quarter last year, the Ghana Statistical Service said that 1.3 million young people were not employed or underemployed. That's a very huge number. Where should the government, you've also just mentioned it as well, but there's also Galamsey. There's also how things will really reflect on the cost of living for people. But the government is also saddled with scarce resources, right? So they have to prioritize and choose the one that it can start with. I mean, which one would you think the government should start with?
I think for me, jobs and Galamsey, I would pair them. I mean, it doesn't have to be one or the other because our problems are many in this country. And so if we're going to prioritize something, I would put those two as a joint first, to be honest. Okay. Jobs and Galamsey, because there's no point in creating jobs if we are killing people, So yeah. We have to do both. And the youth are the future of this nation. And they are so precious to Ghana's very survival. And so I would say that let's look after our youth. Let's better protect them. And the renewed hope that they have found, let's make it real.
Galamsey hasn't ended, but how would you rate the government's performance?
I think the government has shown a true willingness to tackle Galamsey. They have shown, we have seen, some of the initiatives that they have introduced to tackle Galamsey. What I would like to see is we need to actually we need to make scapegoats out of some of these people, because we all know that it's not the people who are rounded up at the pits who are the problem. Yeah. It's the power behind, the throne, as it were. It's those guys, the unseen faces, the cowards, whose faces remain unseen to Ghanaians, who are hiding behind these people, who are frankly pawns in the game. They are just pawns being utilized by some very powerful people. So if the government really brings to book some of those powerful people, it will eradicate Galamsey, because some of these people feel they are untouchable. And really, why would they not feel they are untouchable? We haven't really seen anybody huge, whether politically or a businessman or whoever, huge, that is behind Galamsey, that has been brought to book and punished in accordance with the law. We haven't seen that. No. So if we see even one, I think it will be a huge deterrent. Otherwise, we'll just keep talking and scratching the surface.
Okay. Awal?
If it's about Galamsey, I think the government has really done nothing. Yes, that I can say emphatic. Because you see, what are they doing differently that was not happening in 2024? That is the question.
Doing something differently does not amount to doing nothing.
So what I'm saying is that in 2024, we were doing arrests. We were even burning excavators. We were jailing people to the extent that in the campaign, President Mahama told the media that if he's elected as president, the young ones that Madam is talking about, he said he will even give them amnesty to come back because there are big fishes. There are big wigs who are controlling the Galamsey. Today, in the last 1 year, this is the first time we're hearing an MP organize group of people to attack military people in a police station. What is an allegation when the video is there, is available, that as I speak, the producers can even produce it?
The video does not suggest,
I'm saying that.
The video does not show the MP organizing the
if for nothing,
the riots, but
you see the interview by the NIMOS boss says that they haggled. Your reporter also corroborated that. He said they haggled for 2 hours on the field that they should remove the handcuffs from the culprits. As I speak right now, none of the people have been arrested over there. Those who made police station look unsafe for military, they were in the police station, but the place was unsafe for them. They had to take a Zongo chief to bring his car to take them away. Oscar Oforilabi, beginning of the year, the MP for our win, his chiefs slaughtered a sheep in a press conference and ostracized him from the place, said that he was giving Galamseyers concessions in forest reserve. Nothing happened to him. We heard about Yamin and Abanga. He said, oh, they should allow Yoko invite them to interview them or investigate them. What have you heard about it? Almost a year now.
Last week,
now
I spoke to the PRO for the ministry, Pakwesi Shandov, and yes. I asked these questions, and he says that they have not been left just to the wind. Of course, they are following it, and especially because the accusation is that people who are suspected people who are engaged in Galamsey are kingpins, and this means that if you're investigating it, you require various layers. You must go through thorough before you come and update the Ghanaian people.
I watched the interview. He only spoke English.
What language do you expect?
Yes. You see, because you see, Yoko will always give us updates on their investigations. Even for 1 year, the president asked you to investigate these people. You have not investigated them. That's the point, because at least we'll see the update. If for nothing at all, just arrest them or invite them after the invitation, let them go and tell the people of this country that you have done this. So that someone sitting somewhere who is a party person entering will do that. Again, the implementation of this blue water guards, as I speak right now, there are 22 people who have been employed or engaged in a Asawase constituency. What are they doing? We don't have Galamsey there. You are only risking their lives. You're only sending...
How? How are they risking their lives?
Blue water gas in Asawase, what are they doing there? Asawase is in the heart of Kumasi. There's no Galamsey there. And you have recruited 20 people, 22 people. Just yesterday, I saw our MC gleefully posting the videos and said that they had 22 people from NIMOS for blue water guards. So these are people who are supposed to be in Galamsey areas so that they will be able to really track. These are people who are supposed to know the areas so that if they are leading NIMOS, they know that pass here, pass there, and so on. You're paying them 700 cedis. The person will move from Asawase to Manson Kwanta to go and live there. Rent. I have worked with YE. In YE, what we do is that we put you in your area because you're supposed to take allowance, just like the blue water guards. So I am not surprised that the board chairman of Forestry Commission granted an interview to Cedi FM and told them that some of the blue water guards had been compromised by the Galamseyers because they paid them 700. Then Galamseyers were able to give them 10,000 cedis. So they will not even go and show you the place. They know where they do it, but they will not go and show you the place. So you see, That's why I'm saying that when you check what this government had done in the last 1 year, they had done a lot of PR. When they arrest, they will give it to Felix. Then Felix will post it. Then Parko Sishandom will also post it and come and grant interviews. But the real Galamsey is happening in the forest. How many people have they arrested? They told us that NIMOS had arrested 1,400 people. So out of the 1,400, you couldn't even identify a single campaign. And how many people are in court? How many people have been
respond? But let me come to Godwin. I mean, Awal has some concerns. Somebody watching would say that, yeah, legitimate concerns.
However, when it comes to the fight against Galamsey, the less said about the NPP making any commentary about it, the better.
You are in government now, so speak to the issues.
Because they handed over a very destructive environment to this new administration. When we took over as a government, about 9 of our forest reserves was described as a no-go area for even the government. For the past 1 year, it is on record that we have been able to claim those 9 forest reserves. So it is just surprising Awal will sit here and say we've done nothing, and said everything they were doing is exactly what we are doing. You had a chance, and during your era, 9 forest reserves, not even the military could enter those forest reserves. Within 1 year, we have been able to claim those forest reserves for the country. 2, during your era, all excavators that were imported into this country were not registered. They were not registered. Today, before you import excavators into this
excavators were not registered, they were not.
It's been a debate. The MPP said that they started it.
No, it wasn't.
Unless, of course, you can provide me with facts a while after.
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources has clearly said that.
Yeah.
The Minerals Commission has also said so. Even Forestry Commission has also corroborated that. So during your era, people were just importing excavators into this country without registering them. We didn't even know what they were going to use the excavators for, if for nothing at all. Today, before you import any excavator, you need to seek clearance from the Minerals Commission, together with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and I think the Transport Ministry. These 3 institutions would have to give you clearance before you can import excavators into this country. When it comes, and even before you do that, you need to tell them your purpose, the reason why you want to bring the excavators into this country. And when your clearance is being given to you, you don't shift from that object when the excavators are finally brought into the country. When finally lands at the ports or the shores of this country, ports and harbors then will register, and Minerals Commission will track those excavators to make sure that they will geofence the excavators. When we say geofence, basically to give it a jurisdiction where it is going to work, so that they can track anything apart from what you have been asked to do or the jurisdiction for which you are supposed to work. When you go beyond that, the excavators are recalled.
Have we done that so far? Have we?
Yes, we've done that. Yes, it is something that is.
And so far, excavators that have been imported are being used for exact purpose.
Exactly. Yes. If not, you would have heard them being recalled because they have gone beyond their geofenced area.
Okay.
Yes. It is also true that today, through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, we have declared all our water bodies a red zone area. During your era, that declaration wasn't done. It wasn't done. And you see, there are a lot of villages, should I say mushroom villages, that were created in villages purposely for mining. If you follow Erastus very well, almost every week or every 2 weeks, NIMOS will either go and invade those villages, destroy and burn everything that is there. So for anybody to tell you that we are not working, and you see, it is also a fact that through the the Water Resources Commission, about the turbidity recordings of this country in terms of our water bodies, compared to 2024, this time it is better. So for anybody to tell you that the government
better,
yes, better
compared to 2024.
Yes,
I think some parts. I think the Kwenyako was recording a better.
Kwenyako was shut down under them.
But all the major water
half of Central Region didn't have water under them.
I wasn't interjecting.
So, and you're telling me it's better?
The fact that there is a shutdown of plant do not necessarily mean that it has Its whole reason has to do with issues of Galamsey.
Ghana Water told you it's Galamsey.
No.
Because he talked about turbidity. You spoke to the peer.
Let me speak.
And he said that the reason they had shut it down is because of, this is not a monologue. So they said it is turbidity of the water.
All the major water bodies, its turbidity water today are better than what you handed over to us. How?
As I speak today, I don't have the current stability levels, so I'm unable.
We are.
But I just know as well that Pakwesi again will be my highest authority.
Because he's the
last person I spoke to said that about 50% of them.
He is supposed to do PR for the government. So the only person
who verifiable.
Stanley Mate.
We're watching.
I'm saying that if you don't have anything contrary, if you don't have anything contrary to what the PR is talking about, you don't have to make a comment because he's the official spokesperson of the ministry.
I will go to Vicky. Vicky says that it looks like the government has demonstrated some willingness to fight Galamsey, while on the other hand thinks that this government has done nothing.
I'm coming. Let me even point out this to Awa. For the first time, the MP he was referring to,
our Wayne?
Yes, the MP was referring to, that MP personally made himself available to the Ghana Police Service. Yes or no?
Where?
Yes or
where? It's a no, because where? Which police?
I said he personally made himself available for investigation.
Which police?
Wouldn't be the other MP that was involved?
The one in
yes,
Chidiam. He went to police. He volunteered and went to the police.
I'm saying
the case is pending in court.
So during your time, there was no instance that even any.
There was no instance where an MP was mentioned that he is even engaged in Galamsey.
Is it all about an MP?
Yes. It can't be all about that.
Who again? Who?
It has to be somebody
we even saw on video one of the parliamentary candidates who had gathered Galamseyers and was speaking to them. I don't know if you remember. Oh, one of the parliamentary candidates, I've forgotten either at the central region.
I want to go to Vicky quickly, give me the information you want to.
So, tracking illegal mining, 4,000 excavators to be tracked this year. This is Daily Graphic, March 01, 2023.
So what are you trying to say?
2023.
To be.
You know, I'm saying that in 2023, that is in March 2023, Daily Graphic reported that we have started the tracking of these excavators. And again, by 2024 that you came in, we had already started the tracking. It was in place.
You
said we have never tracked.
Hang on, in tracking, are you telling me by the same mode and method, the geofencing that they say?
The same thing, I'm telling you.
So you use the same method? Where the mineral commission track?
Did you ever hear of geofencing under the NPP?
But you see,
did you even hear them say that after even they have tracked?
What is geofencing? You are talking about an excavator that has come into the country.
I just want
has been registered.
Hang on. I just want specific. You provided me 2023. You said that to be.
No, I'm saying that
when a government tells me to be, I can't take it as
I'm saying that this is just a story to tell you that
you had the ideation.
No, not the idea. In 2024, I'll give you the story. Okay. When all the excavators.
There's 4,000.
But yes, this is 4,000 that had been identified, and they will be tracked within that year 2023. So when you came in, I listened to the Minerals Commission CEO, the one who is no longer there, who has been moved to the ministry. He said that indeed the tracking had started. He was giving these updates on Asempa every Wednesday.
Okay.
So I'm surprised that he's saying that they have started the tracking.
My point is that,
and again, you were importing more than 200 a day. To the extent that you remember,
my point is that during your era, you were not expected to take clearance before you import excavators into this country. That was my point.
That's not correct.
Today, you need clearance from 3 different institutions. It is not there. It is not there.
The ministry then will come for us to make us feel that they were introducing it when it already existed.
I'm saying that
it never existed under the NPP.
I mean, he's saying that.
No, it never existed. You don't expect him to say that it existed, because earlier he had made a point that we haven't done anything new, and trying to bring some of the new things we've done before him. He's just trying to tell you that all those things were being done during their era.
Okay.
But can he tell us the nine forest reserves that were no-go areas? Can he list them for us?
Because they've been peddling this falsehood for a longer time. List them. Your refusal doesn't mean that it's true. Before maybe I would stand down. I will list the forest reserves.
I will.
These are lies.
The Deputy Minerals Commission came. I think we call him Elembele. So when he came,
he provided all those evidence. What did he provide?
You take it from him and not from
yes, but you can speak. The Mineral Commission is giving more of an authority. So you can give us, right?
Sorry?
You can recall the 9.
No, I mean, why would I want to keep?
So that is the reason he's here. He's here to speak for government, and I'm challenging him that it is not true. I'm making reference to the saying that it is not true that there were 9 areas that were not going here. Tell us.
Who are you doubting?
Okay, so tell us.
Where is your counterfact?
Where is your counterfact? List them.
You cannot doubt the deputy CEO of.
I am doubting you because I didn't listen.
It is not about me.
No, it's not about you.
No, but I'm telling you.
It is not about me. So, MFI, you have to list them. Because
we can get the tape for you.
Exactly.
I mean, we can get the tape for you, but not because I agree that it's true or not. I can only take the person who's been mandated to tell me.
Because usually they mentioned some forest reserve in Ashanti region that has still been inhabited by Galamseyers. And it was corroborated by the same man.
Came up about we now taking charge of those 9 forest reserves. I haven't seen any counter argument on this matter.
Yes, because he just counter.
No, this is my. You don't expect a while to praise the government. How is it difficult
that he praised Tor? He didn't. Did he not?
With regards to how is it difficult? The person in talking about.
Don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. If he doesn't remember, does not mean that he
can get them.
Let's not do that.
The person from the word go told you that the government has done nothing.
Okay, it's fine.
So in trying to provide to him things we have done, Vicky, you don't expect him to agree with me.
You mentioned him as government spokesperson, so you should get this information.
Well, you can't have everything.
I'll get it for you. I wouldn't think that we'll start a Galamsey conversation and have 2 political parties up in there with each other because a lot of things are quite verifiable. I mean, how do you feel? Does the fight look winnable?
This is the problem that we have with Galamsey. You know, there are not just even Galamsey. There are certain issues that should just rise above the politics. You know, and if, whether it's NPP or NDC, if someone has done something to further the cause, the other person should be magnanimous enough to say, yes, this is a fight and we are doing, you did 2 steps, you did 2 steps. It's not that you invalidate, you know, the other person's steps. I believe that the government has shown a willingness to tackle Galamsey. But of course, we need to go further than that because Galamsey remains a severe, unresolved national crisis and that we are all experiencing as Ghanaians. The food that we eat, our forest reserves, water bodies are being polluted daily, and you know, health, endangering lives every day. So for me, you know, in fact, this is not a political problem. This is a Ghanaian problem. And all sides of the house, everybody has to come together. Politicians, civilians, everybody, the chiefs, every Ghanaian has to join in this fight against Galamsey. Because as long as we keep pointing fingers at each other, we are not going to get anywhere with this Galamsey fight. People have died in the course of this thing. A lot of people who we don't know, and some prominent people who we know. I mean, you know, the 8 gallant men who died. That was all part of this Galamsey fight.
Sure.
So we need to rise above politics in this discussion. And we all need to join hands to find a solution to Galamsey. Because there is a solution. The fact remains, as I said earlier, that there are people, it's not faceless, there are people who are doing this thing. Galamsey doesn't do itself. Human beings are involved in it. And those guys are the minds, they are not the problem. They are just people who are trying to earn a living because they are unemployed. A lot of these young kids that you see. But, you know, where are these people, these politicians, these chiefs, these eminent businessmen, these people who are the true benefit, and some foreigners
Do you sometimes feel that we may never win the fight against Galamsey? Do you get that
I
fear?
mean, I think a lot of Ghanaians feel that, but we can't afford to feel that way. Because if you lose hope, then you might as well forget it. It is an existential threat to this nation. We all know that and we all say that. But I'm not sure whether we feel that. Because if we do, I think we will approach the problem differently.
Let's take a trip to the US and make a detour to Venezuela. Yes.
But let me put this on record.
Sure.
The Blue Water Guard people are not paid 700 Ghana Cedi as Awal was talking about. They are being paid 2,000 Ghana Cedi, not 700.
This is verifiable.
From
Where can I find it?
From the Deputy Minerals Commission. See,
but he cannot give you the list of the.
He cannot give you the list of the
forest.
I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you, so you can just.
Where did you get the 700?
You can just look at it. I just asked him how much they are being paid, and that's the response he just gave to me. They are being paid 2,000 Ghana Cedi.
Okay,
not the 700 as Awal.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Not as what Awal.
That's fine.
I'm also requesting for the list from him. You can realize I've requested for the list
that you have.
Yeah, So when provided, I'll give it out.
Okay.
So the tracking of excavators, indeed, we had a legislation as at 2020. There was a legislation that we put in place, and that is the one that they are implementing.
What's the name of this?
LI, I'm coming. LI to the.
Is it the same LI that allowed mining in our forest
This
reserves?
is moving earth equipments and.
No, LI what?
That is. I'm coming.
He's finding it. So while you're at it, you can give me. You can
I thought he had everything in mind when he was asking me to provide the list of those forest reserves.
I think you can
ignore
the
now you're finding yourself
Let's
working.
ignore the SSS. Okay.
No.
Vicky, I'll start with you.
Minerals and mining operations tracking of earth moving and minerals equipment regulation 2020 LI 2404. LI 2404. This is 2404, and the title is Minerals Operations.
That's a long title, right?
Earth moving and mining equipments.
And you were doing that, and as of 2023,
that was the law.
Tracked 4,000.
Yes, we have tracked 4,000.
And when you tracked it, what became of it?
But that was how we were able to really get a lot of them and bend them.
LI 2404.
LI 2404. 2404. And the title of that LI is Minerals Operations Tracking of Earth Moving and Minerals Equipments.
Okay.
Mining equipment, sorry.
Vicky, I'll start with you with the U.S. airstrike, Venezuela. Many have described this as an act of war. Trump very insisted much that no, the president was engaged in drug trafficking and other untoward activities. How do you feel about this? Many have said that is a threat to a country's sovereignty. How do you feel about it? And why must we, as Ghanaians, concern ourselves with this?
Well, I mean, obviously, waking up and seeing that a country with the most powerful military in the world has gone into another nation to remove the president is of concern to all of us. It's not the kind of thing you expect to see in this post-World War II international rules order. So I find it quite shocking. And of course, all countries are supposed to be sovereign. And so one has to worry when that kind of thing happens. Because, you know, in Ghana, let me put it this way. A lot of countries will probably be concerned. You know, now there's talk of maybe even what could happen to Cuba, for example. The US has interest in Greenland, and so on and so forth. And Greenland, of course, would have serious implications for Europe because of where it's situated, and also the fact that it's a NATO member. So these are developments that are of concern. The developments are new, and so I would say that it's important to tread with caution, not to be too inflammatory about it, and to wait and see what's really legitimacy. What we've heard are the rhetorics on the news and all of that, but I would like to hear the legal basis on which America felt that it could go into somebody's country and remove its president and bring it back to its own soil.
He gets to appear in court today, and so maybe we definitely will see that legal basis. And on top of my mind, do you see anything in terms of international law that the U.S. could actually have any form of legal basis to want to enter into the country?
It's difficult because the UN Charter is very clear. So just from that point of view, it is difficult. But then, of course, every country also has a legitimate right to defend itself. So America could argue, and I don't know what its legal argument is, that it's been threatened by what is happening with this whole the drug cartels entering into its territory and mass migration into America, etc., etc. But we do also know that there are always economic interests in these things. Venezuela does have the world's largest reserves of oil and a particular kind of oil, which the U.S. needs. The irony is that the U.S. has the infrastructure to actually refine these oils, and Venezuela doesn't. I think they have over 300 billion barrels of oil that are untapped, and that is huge, and it's quite a big chunk of the world's, a significant percentage of the world's needs. So, and also, of course, let's not forget that China and Russia have interests there in that region. So this will give America influence in a region with significant Chinese interests in particular. So the jury is out. Here, for me, the lesson for us here in Ghana and for all of Africa is to strengthen our institutions, to come together and be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, the AU, sadly, has just become a talking shop. And I think we need to really take certain things seriously here in Africa, because you can't sit there and look at what is happening. You know, the geopolitics now is becoming very complex. It's not as simple as it used to be. So we cannot sit here in isolation and pretend that, oh, it's got nothing to do with us here in Ghana. What it is, for me, is to give an impetus to African institutions and African leaders to actually strengthen their countries and their institutions, and also practice good governance. You know, because it seems that if your institutions are weak, if you practice bad governance, if you threaten the U.S.'s interests or whatever, then you're not immune to action from a third country.
Well, it's interesting because I do not recall during Biden's era quite intruding into the matters of Venezuela. Sometimes every now and then, elections, he will make a comment. But then if you track it back, you realize that Trump has had quite an eye on Venezuela and its activities. And then one will wonder why, in his second term and coming back, he's still back at it. How do you feel about it?
I think Biden, too, had an eye there. When you check from Trump 1, you remember he put some bounty on his head that if you are able to really get him arrested, you'll be given $25 million.
This was Biden?
Yes, no, Trump.
Trump, yes.
So Biden reviewed it to around 50 million. But it was not really pronounced like this.
Okay.
People didn't really hear about it.
You'd say it started during the Trump era.
Trump first Trump era.
Yeah.
Then Biden...
Sort of.
Exactly, but he did not also really revoke that until Trump is re-elected today, and he's now doing what he's doing. But I think this one teaches us one thing, that there is no sovereign country in the world again. And when we're reading international relations in first degree, we're told that might is always right. And we're seeing it today. Because after he did that, look at the commentaries from other countries, to the extent that UK Prime Minister is saying that he had to speak to Trump to be able to ascertain what really he went there to do before he could even make a comment about it. That's serious. You get it? So,
isn't not fair?
No, I'm saying that at least, if for nothing at all, you see that indeed the other countries are condemning what he had done. Even sitting here, Madam is trying to tell you that indeed they have flouted the international law. You cannot enter anyone's country to abduct the president and say he is going to face trial in your country. But unfortunately, it has happened today. But you see, I think it's a security failure.
On the part of Venezuela.
Yeah, exactly. Because you see, from all indications.
It's the U.S. though.
The U.S.
It's the U.S.
It is still the U.S. It is still the U.S. But how they were able to abduct him without any resistance should tell you something. I saw a video on Edujita Makuli's wall last night. And they were saying that the security around him were impoverished to the extent that some were paid as high as $10 million to be able to give tracking on where he would be at that time and so on. So that was the reason they were able to abduct him easily with his wife. It was easy. You remember Laurent Gbagbo?
Yeah.
In Cote d'Ivoire, it wasn't easy. The troops from France came, but it wasn't easy. A lot of people had to die. That was in 2011. But in Venezuela, with all their equipment and so on, and the president was abducted like a fowl in his own country, should tell you something. And everything pointed to the fact that he was even at a safe house.
Yeah.
So how did America get to the safe house without even shooting a single officer?
Honestly, I don't know why I'm not surprised. It's just America.
You get it? So that should tell you, no, you see, whatever be the case, there may be some resistance from people around him. Even here, if someone is coming to attack you in this studio, at least if for nothing at all, if they are able to pass through the security, they'll get to the producers first.
They have to get through a stomach to come.
Exactly so.
That's a big time.
So this is the president of a country.
Yeah.
Even in Ghana here, I don't think Trump can come and just enter Flagstaff House without any casualty. You get it? So that is my point. So I believe that because of the elections that happened in 2024 and a lot of issues around it, where he lost the elections but decided to hold on to power, because Spain, when you see their statement, they said, well, they did not even recognize him as president of that country.
The legitimacy of his presidency seems to have been in question
by a lot of the states. So his abduction came as a welcoming news to countries like Argentina and some few other allies of the West. And even the West, looking at their posture, look at the EU statement. None of them were categorical about his release or his wife's release. They were all talking about democratic consolidation so that at least you get a democratic leader there. The only people who condemned and called for his release are the East and their allies, the Chinese, Russia, and so on. So that is why some of us, when we saw Okuyeto's statement, I cringed, especially the tail end of his statement, when he called for de-escalation and the release immediately.
But why not?
Hey,
why not?
Check others. Check what the German Chancellor said. Check what the EU said. Even AU, African Union, did not call for de-escalation and his release.
What's wrong with that call?
It tells you that you are now on one side. Because now the world is divided into two. The West is saying that, well, let's have a democratic institution working. There shouldn't be any uprising in that country.
But if you don't call for his release, whilst he's still being held, how would you call for democratic institutions working? His release is very, very dependent on that, is it not?
So listen to listen to what the German Chancellor said. The legal assessment of the U.S. intervention is complex and requires careful consideration. international law remains the guiding framework. At this stage, political instability in Venezuela must be avoided. The objective is an orderly transition to elected government.
And had nothing to say about the airstrike.
Almost all the Western countries, this is what they are saying. Now, when you go to China, China is saying release him. Russia is saying release him. Ghana is saying release him. That's the point. And AU is not saying release him. Because when you read the AU statement, they all never said he should be released. Because they knew that this is someone who has impoverished his own country to the extent that the security could even leave him. So you see, Ghana has a foreign policy orientation of non-alignment. Kwame Nkrumah did not align, even though we knew he was a socialist, but did not align with the East. He said we were not looking at East and West.
The statement from the statement you have just read from the German ambassador, or what? Who?
Yes, German Chancellor.
The German Chancellor. Yes. Would you say that it is taking side or it is being in the middle? Because they don't talk about the airstrike at all, the abduction at all.
If you read, if you understand diplomacy and you read all these outpouring of messages and so on, you could tell who is standing.
Where is this person?
He's with America.
He's what?
Yes. Okay. He's aligning with America.
Okay.
You see, and the UK president is also aligning with America.
I want to give a few minutes to Godwin as well.
Just to conclude, I'm saying that if you check, in Ivory Coast, when it happened and they abducted the Laurent Gbagbo, what did Mill say? Zufiasem. In those days, Okujeto Ablakwa was a deputy information minister who was defending it and aligning it with our non-alignment orientation as a
in very simple terms, what are you saying? He shouldn't have responded?
He should have condemned it and leave it as such and do what South Africa did, because South Africa said the Security Council will have to meet and take a decision. This is what South Africa wrote.
I think they are meeting today.
Exactly. So a lot of the countries had really written this. But if you go, then it tells us that indeed our suspicion that Russia supported President Mahama to win this election is...
Oh dear.
You see, don't discount that, because in July, the only country President Mahama visited before the elections was Russia. And when he nicodemously entered Russia, Daily Graphic reported that he was in Russia. Joyce Bao-Mutare said he was in Russia to translate his book into Russian language. The book he wrote in 2012. After 12 years, it's now that he's going there to do that.
Okay.
We know they are aligned with the East.
But do you have concerns with the statements as well from
fortunately, I have been sent the
9 forest reserves.
The 9 forest reserves, and let me give it to you for you to read.
No, once I take it,
I want you to do that, so that Awa will know that it's a fact. We are not just
which fact?
Speaking. We are not just speaking.
Them so that we can.
For all these forest reserves under your era, not even the military could even enter. Today, at least we have been able to claim those forest
so
reserves.
that
I will, but I want to hear you.
Yeah, back to this country. However, as for these international issues, I would have to condemn it the way the minister has equally done that. If you condemn it, and you don't even go further to request for the release of the president and the wife, it speaks to that. Because what are you condemning? What have they done? They have invaded another country, arrested its president and the wife. Immediately you condemn it. You are eventually telling them to release them. So the fact that others have condemned without going further to request for their release, it's actually nothing. But when you read into it, it's virtually the same thing that he is saying. Because however, when you read the last paragraph, and this is the principle almost every sovereign nation will abide by, and that is what we must lay much emphasis on, not what Awal is reading. And I read, the government of Ghana shall remain and defend the long-standing principled position against evasion. Which country in the world?
Read the last paragraph.
It's the last paragraph I'm reading.
You know that he has given us
nobody, Awal, he was quiet when you were making your submission. And nobody also reads the content and ignores the top and just goes to the conclusion.
The government of Ghana shall maintain and defend its long-held principled position against evasion. Which country in the world today will say it is not against evasion of their own country? everybody will virtually speak against that.
It's a question. It's a fair question.
Ghana calls for occupation, immediate colonialism, escalation, apartheid, and disagree for sovereignty and all forms of violation of international laws. What has actually happened is an how do I even put it? It's a violation of international law.
Yes.
Because I cannot just sit to one day realize that the president of Ghana has been taken by another country simply because of suspicion. Something you cannot substantiate. It is just an allegation. That country is a sovereign nation. Yesterday, I took my time to read some excerpts from some people. There is another school of thought that believes that it is not about what they say it is. It is about economic benefits. Because as my sister rightly said, Venezuela today has the largest deposit of oil reserves.
Yeah, not just they have the finest.
Yes, and the finest. They are holding 1/5 of the global reserves. So it is giving people the opportunity to read further meanings to what is actually happening. It is not actually about what they say it is, but it goes beyond that. For me, I don't agree. I will condemn what has happened. It is a sovereign nation. What has happened to them, should it happen to Ghana, it is not something I will agree to that. So I will agree to it today, I will agree to it tomorrow. The Minister of Foreign Affairs has indeed done what a sovereign nation should do in support of another sovereign nation.
Okay, so if you condemn and not ask for release, what does that?
Are you not reading
what I'm saying? Is
what you will do is you will read it yourself, but I and my team will do a fact check.
Exactly, because this one must be fact checked.
So let me forward it.
Don't worry about how.
As I said, my source is from the Deputy CEO for Minerals Commission.
And I'll say categorically that from the time it was said, we haven't said that it is otherwise. So it still stands until.
And he's the same person you also referenced.
Of course.
You also referenced. That's why I intentionally decided to request for the same document from the same person you referenced.
Him and then the ministry. That's the speaker for the ministry. They're about 9.
Okay, yeah. So we have the Jimira and Jimira Extension Forest Reserves in Ashanti region.
This is Erastus
we have
Asaridonko. Jimira Forest mining persists by armed gangs. Erastus Asaridonko. Jimira Forest.
We are saying
you understand reclamation of the red area.
Forest where hitherto Ghanaians had no opportunity to enter has now been claimed back to the country. What are you talking about?
Let me read that they're still there.
They are still there.
What date is
These
that?
are 2. What date is it though? What date is that?
Let me check.
But also, these are 2 different things.
2 different things.
You ask specifically, normally I won't do this, but people are watching and they'll be interested.
Yes.
You ask specifically that there were no red zones in your era.
I didn't say that.
No, you said that.
I didn't say there were no red zones. I said they have been saying that they have reclaimed 9 red zones.
And you requested for
9 forest
reserves. You said they've been peddling it.
Yes, I said they have been peddling it.
So what's the challenge? Is that there were no red zones?
There were. There are still red zones. Because even the Tano forests, before we left, they were red zones.
So they should provide the 9 red
and
zones.
if really the red zones are still...
Who will provide? If not the ministry or the agency, who will do so?
Let's start with the first request, which, like I said, I'm putting on the record that I won't do that.
So that
because it's my duty to do the fact check and then we publish it.
Yes.
But he should. Then you give me the dates for that.
So Jimira and Jimira Extension Forest Reserve in Ashanti region.
That's verifiable?
Yes. Asenanyo Forest Reserve, Ashanti. Desiri Forest Reserve, Ashanti. Ofin Shelter Belt Forest Reserve, Ashanti. Afua Hills Forest Reserve, Western North. Tano Enria Forest Reserve, Western North. Aniaso East Forest Reserve, Western North. Aniaso South Forest Reserve, Western North. And Subri River Forest Reserve in the Western region.
That's the last one.
Yes. That's the last one.
9.
So these are the 9.
Okay. So when you check the Tano Nia in the Western North, this is the forest that the chiefs of Awin said Oscar Ofori Labi was parceling it out for Galamseyers.
What are you trying to say?
No,
yes.
but that was earlier in the year.
Are you agreeing?
That's why I'm asking about the
Yes. Because you referenced my colleague, yes. I'm asking what
the Jimra one is in 9th of April. 9th April.
No, but I had that interview after mine.
Yes, but I'm saying that at least you will have to fact check, as you said, so that at least you can those 9 forests from him
have been claimed.
Okay. What a way to start the new year. Well, there's so much to talk about, but the time is not enough. We'll continue.
They are still mining in these areas.
So, I'm saying
claimed.
But if they are mining on Mondays, I'm saying they are still mining in these areas. I have also gotten a confirmation from mining consultant.
You first said
who is telling me that they are still there.
It's something it's not something to play with.
That's what he said.
So if there are these things are valid, we have to look.
No, he said as at today.
Do a fact check. So
I said
let's just wait and let them because if the information
Erasmus would have been calling me by now and then immediately. So don't worry about that. Okay. Of course, the fight when we drink the water is not. We all drink the water, so yeah, we're concerned.
Our stability is worse. It's not worse problem.
Anyway, there's more on the show. Stay.
All right. Good morning and welcome to the AM show. Time for us to get into some big stories. One of them has to do with the DVLA, the Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority. That institution last year announced that they will be rolling out a new form of registering vehicles this year. And the samples we saw were beautiful. So, you know, there are a lot of people who were eager to get it. But later in the year, a release came to say that they have suspended that because they couldn't pass the amendment to the LI. That could have given them the opportunity to do that. We've been joined in studio by Stephen Atu. He is the Director of Corporate Affairs at DVLA to shed light on that. Good morning, sir, and thanks for coming.
Good morning, and thank you.
So, I mean, at what point in time did you decide that you do this? And on which authority did you announce that this will be rolled out this year?
All right, so sometime last year, the chief executive hinted of the need to work out such a strategy. And that was put before management, put before board, and they accepted the proposal. And the point is that once the proposal has been accepted, it is for us to work out the modalities. And you need to work out all these modalities before you even go to parliament, because the point is that you have to identify the features that needs to be on the plate. Okay. For instance, if you pick LI 2180 under Regulation 10, it spells out clearly the features that are on our existing number plates. So it tells you the prefix, the number, where even dash should be, and then the suffix, which from 2009 started from 09 all the way to 25. Okay. So if we needed to make amendments to the features that should be on the plate, as you have seen on the designs we brought out, we needed to work all of these things out and know what we want on the plate before we go before Parliament. So all those works were done. Along the way, we got the approvals from within DVLA, from the board and everything. I mean, the sector minister and every other thing. So once you get all those things done, then you can now work out the proposals, and then you propose the amendments before Parliament, and then you are anticipating that will be carried through. So that was where we got to.
But you knew that there was the amendment that could give you the power to do it. Good. But you had not done that.
Not that we had not done that. The point is that after we finished with all the designs, we made the inputs to the amendment, what we needed specifically to be done. So for instance, when we decided that we are coming out with a plate that has the region or the region or the country, you know, so you have Republic of Ghana on the plate. The existing plate does not have that. Again, you are bringing in a plate that is RFID, that is the radio frequency identification chip embedded. The current plate does not have that. And so you have to get all of these things spelled out and detailed and approved in an LI. Okay. Like I said, if we don't do the in-house work and know what we want to be on our number plate, we cannot go and seek amendment. Otherwise, what are you going to Parliament with? And it is the proposal for the amendment that would bring you before Parliament to justify why you seek to bring in this technology and why you think that the features as we have on the current plate have to change. So that is it. So it is not the case that you have to go and seek for amendment before you come in to do your designs.
Okay.
In-house. No.
Okay.
You have to finish with the designs, know what you want before you go to Parliament to seek for the amendment to contain it specifically. Like I said, under Regulation 10 of LI 2180, if you pick, I didn't bring mine into the studio. If you pick it, under Regulation 10, it tells you specifically everything that should be on the plate. So if you pick a plate and you have features that have not been spelled out in the LI, you are acting illegally.
Okay.
That's what it means.
So it means that you couldn't get the because I get the Transport Committee of Parliament would have sat on this. You couldn't get them to amend the LI early enough to help you do it.
So the point is that
early enough to help you do it.
So the point is that there are two things. The government has an agenda to commercialize the use of motorbikes.
Okay.
So there you needed amendment in the Parent Act, which is the Road Traffic Act. That act was done. But the LI 2180 amendments did not mature.
Okay.
At the point, part of the discussions has to do with the fact that the LI had been in existence since 2012. There is a multi-agency LI. So DVLA has its portion. The MTTD has its portion. National Road Safety Authority has its portion. And a lot of amendments have been done over the years to get all these institutions functioning. So at the beginning, part of the argument was to the effect that, okay, why don't you overhaul? Because the LI has seen so many amendments so that it would incorporate all the amendments that have been done into a single document. That was part of it. But then we had to make our case, which we made. The LI was late, but you know that Parliament needed a 21 sitting days on it. We didn't get a 21 sitting days before Parliament went on recess, and so that had to cause us to suspend. And again, because the LI was not in force, you can't go ahead and bring in a new plate because, like I said, that would become an illegal exercise.
Yeah.
And so that had to cause us to hold back whilst we wait on Parliament to come. If we get through with the amendment, then we can roll out the new license plate that we propose.
Yeah. As someone who was interested in the new plate, if I have anyone to hold responsible for breaking my heart, it is the DVLA.
Yes, we admit. We admit it because, like you rightly stated at the beginning, these are beautiful plates. And we've had friends who engaged us who wanted to register their cars. They were anticipatory. They were in wait for us to come out with it. But DVLA is a law-abiding institution. In fact, our conduct at DVLA is regulated by law.
Yes.
If we do anything that is outside of the law, anybody can take us.
As for that.
Yeah, so we do appreciate the enthusiasm, and we love the fact that Ghanaians have embraced the plates and the technology we sought to bring out. We can only apologize and indicate that, yes, it is not only on our part that we were not able to roll out the plate. It is because of the legal challenge we have had to do with the amendments proposal that we sought.
That's what takes me back to the question of,
yes,
you knew you needed the amendment to be able to do it.
Good.
Why don't you get that through before you whet our appetite that I'm bringing out?
No, the point I raise is that
you have to design whatever to get the LI done.
All of those designs needs to be done.
Yes.
And again, you see, if we don't bring the public up to speed as to what we want to bring out, I doubt the enthusiasm you had with us, you have it with us again. If you wake up one day and realize that DVLA has amended their LIs, they are introducing a new plate without you even knowing what is going into it. We have run an open administration where even as we kept putting out the proposals, we kept getting inputs. We went around the country, sometimes in October. We did a stakeholder engagement across all the 16 regions. And after we came back, we still got input from the stakeholders on what should go into the plate, which we did. And you see, if you don't do these engagements, more of driving this whole agenda from the people's perspective, you end up and bring something that the people will not accept.
Okay.
And so we thought to carry everybody along the way, but then we kept emphasizing the fact that we can only rule it out if we get the LI amendment going through. And that was the challenge we have had. But it is not the case that we will not come back. Once the LI approval is done, DVLA will roll it out. And then we will give everybody the opportunity to acquire the new license plate.
Everybody, you mean even those who have old plates?
In fact, yes.
Even those who have old plates?
Yes. The point is that even in our conversation, we did indicate, you see, you and I will agree that it will not make safety sense to say that only vehicles that will be registered with a new plate should be the ones we can have an advanced technology on. For instance, we want to have ability to trace if a vehicle is used to commit crime. We want to have, so that's why we want to align with global standards. Whereas you have this technology of RFID that allows for traceability and also promoting road safety. We can't say that only vehicles that have the new number plate should be the ones traceable. No. So what we're going to do is that after we roll out the new plates, we'll give ample time. And you know, if you own a private car, once a year you are supposed to come back to DVLA and do your roadworthy. If you operate a commercial vehicle, twice in a year you are supposed to come back to do your roadworthy. So we'll give ample time so that such opportunities will be taken. And then we'll take every person who comes to DVLA through so that you have the new license plate changed and embossed on your vehicle. That's what we're going to do. So it will have to affect every vehicle in the system so that it enables us. For instance, let's assume that the ministry even decides that they are bringing back road tolls and they need a certain technology that they will map into the vehicle such that when you get to the toll booth, there may not be anybody there, but there should be a communication between the gadgets for you to pass. We can't say that only new cars. It means that we'll have human beings manning those places for vehicles that are already in the system so that they can collect money and then the others, they can do that electronically. That cannot be the case. So we'll give the opportunity for everybody to acquire the new license plate as soon as we roll it out.
How much is it going to cost me to acquire the plate?
So that is usually a difficult question to answer. You know why? Because every fee that DVLA charges is approved by Parliament. So the current license plate, if you go to register your car, the cost of the plate was approved by Parliament under the fees and charges.
How much is that?
Oh, the current one that we have. You know, it comes as part of the register. I think it's less than 180 cedis.
Okay.
That's the existing plate as we have. But the new plate, it is only when we finish with all the approvals, we look at the input cost and every other thing. You then put before Parliament that, okay, this is the amount it will cost to sell the plate. But you can be minded that Parliament is mindful that DVLA is not in the system to make profit because it's a government institution. Though you are not expected to make laws, they will peg the plate cost at what they believe their constituents can afford. And so you can always trust Parliament to do that for the people of Ghana. So we will make our proposals on the cost that we intend that the plate should go for. But Parliament will take us through the process. We will defend everything, and then they will slash if they need to slash, or they will upgrade if they need to upgrade, so that we will arrive at a figure that is more affordable.
You've played with some models now, right? I'm sure you've done some modeling to know how much it will cost you to print the plate.
No,
how much is it costing you?
No, so the point is this. It's two things. We always keep emphasizing that until the final license plate is brought out, you can't place a cost at it. But then in all that we've done, the designs and everything you've seen in the media space is done by DVLA. But I, as Corporate Affairs Director, the department in terms of designs handles designs. And then all the inputs comes from the management, the technical officers from DVLA at no cost to anybody. But to place a cost on a license plate, it is only when the plate is out that you can tell the cost of it. You put it before Parliament. If they agree with you, then you go ahead. So all fees, anything, any service you come to DVLA to acquire, if the cost is not given by Parliament, we cannot charge you.
Is it because it's a government institution? Because I know that for a private man, he would have gone through the numbers to say, I anticipate that this will be my cost, and this will be my selling price, and this could probably be my break-even. So you're saying you've not done that?
So DVLA is, like I said, it's a public institution.
Yes.
And again, because you know that this is an institution that exists for...
Not to make profit.
Yes. And again, even for as long as Ghana continues to exist, unless government decides otherwise, you will definitely engage in contractual agreements that will last a longer period. And obviously, if the person does his costing based on the existing plating, and you have made inputs, they would have communicated. And I said that is exactly the reason for which the finance people, after they've done all the cost inputs, will place before Parliament and say, okay, this is the amount if we charge, at least we can recover costs. And until that is done, I can't sit here and put a figure.
No, but
that becomes difficult for me.
You earlier said when you amend, when the LI is amended, it is during that time that the fees will be approved, right?
No, you see, the fees and charges does not go with the amendment.
Okay. So when will you send the fees and charges?
So fees and charges are proposed to Parliament from time to time. As I speak, I think a last review was submitted somewhere last year. So once that is done, then, because you can wake up today and go to DVLA, and there's a possibility that they tell you, okay, the services we've been providing, like even the academic fees and all of that, they are reviewed in bulk. So you go and have the Ministry of Transport, all the sector agencies under it. So for instance, those who run train services, they will propose a figure. And so when you pick, you see DVLA, Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, there will be fees that are spelled out for every service that we provide at DVLA. And it is only when the proposal you send is approved that you can then say that you have a fees and charges approved by Parliament in an act that you can go ahead and work with.
When will this proposal be sent to Parliament?
Oh, for the new plate, once the approval is done, what it means is that once they give you the approval for you to be able to roll out the plate, now you can then go before them and say, okay, this is what it will cost us to issue a plate per head or to any vehicle owner who comes to register a vehicle. And the back and forth will go through. Seriously.
So if, say, I'm an MP, I have approved the LI, the amendment to it, without knowing the cost to my constituents. Then you bring me the fees and charges, and I feel this is way too high. I won't approve it, and Parliament doesn't approve it. What happens?
There have been several times we've sent fees, and there have been back and forth as to whether we will allow you to charge it or not. And like I said, you have to reach a compromise, a position where it is feasible to say, when you run this for a period of time, the authority will not run into a loss, obviously. And so they are our key stakeholders. Parliament are key stakeholders we work with. And obviously, there's no way we are going to charge outrageous prices. We as an authority even being mindful. Because after all, if my mother should buy a vehicle, she will come to DVLA and register. And she should be able to register based on her ability to afford and all of that. So it's not anything that is going to be outrageous or even much different from what exists currently as we have. The only advantage that we are bringing on, the only add-on we are bringing on, is the issue of the technology, the RFID. And RFID, I mean, it depends on what you seek to bring onto it. They are in different forms. And obviously, there's no way we are going to bring in something that is so outrageous to the people of Ghana.
It's intriguing to me because as I sit here, I was thinking that DVLA would probably know some numbers now, but you say you don't. You wait.
I don't have to commit myself.
You wait till you pass.
My finance people are working the figure. So it will be, I don't know how feasible it's going to be for me to sit here and speak to that effect. And
how many vehicles do we have in the system so far? Registered vehicles?
We have over 3 million.
3 million. And all of these 3 million would have to come for the new license plate when it's passed?
Yes, when it's passed.
And then the new ones will add on?
Yes, the new ones will also add on. And what will happen is that we're going to allow ample time so that we can do the replacements. You and I will agree that the plate we have today was not the same plate we had sometime in the year, maybe 2000. But we want to synchronize and align with global standards, even sub-region. And for this RFID, I understand only a few countries have even been able to bring it on board because of the advantages it offers. And I believe that Ghana, embracing this technology, will be ahead of many of the countries that are running. And again, for the use of vehicles, one of the points you would really want to look at is the fact that you use a public space. You engage in activities on the road that is built by the public. So you must operate within a certain framework, safety and otherwise. So if for an individual who may use a vehicle to commit a crime, we should be able to help as an authority to fish the person out. And that is exactly what we are driving at.
Yeah.
So that we can protect the lives of any other individual and properties of people. So that when a crime is committed with the use of vehicle, DVLA should be able to tell that at this point, this vehicle is owned by this person. And we could trace and tell where the crime was committed or where the vehicle could be found.
As for that, I understand. The only thing is not being able to know how much I will pay. And a viewer just sent me a message that he's also worried that he doesn't know how much this will cost.
He will know how much it will cost us.
No, but for now that we are talking about it, so we were told last year that this was going to be.
Good.
And if last year we were told and we don't know how much it was going to cost me to do it, that becomes a problem.
So don't let us put too much emphasis on cost. Because the point is that once the LI has not given us the approval to design to implement a new plate, We cannot give you a cost of something that has not been approved. That's the point.
Okay.
Once that approval is done, we'll put the fees before Parliament, and the public will know. There's no way we will charge the fees without the public being aware of.
All right. Now, that's a huge number there. Now, you spoke about stakeholders. Last year, there's an association of plate printers. The people who help you do the printing. Embossers, yeah. Why did you decide to give the contract to just one company without them?
And when did they say the contract was signed?
No, they said that it hasn't been signed, but that's the intention. You've engaged one entity to go into the printing of the plate without them. Those who have you worked with for all these years.
The understanding is this: DVLA engages with manufacturers.
Okay.
And then the manufacturer intends also engage embossers in that exercise. The point is that this current administration did not sign any contract. There was a procurement process that was undertaken, I understand, somewhere in 2023. And then somewhere in November 2024, a contract was awarded to a company called Omel. Okay. And what the chief executive currently did was that Omel had a contract to supply or to manufacture a certain number plates. And they called the securitized plates.
Securitized?
Yes. Chief executive felt, okay, we could make modifications, especially with the existence of RFID. And again, to look at other features that we could add to a plate to enhance it and also to make it more advanced in terms of security. So what he did was to make inputs into the contract, but not to vary it. And again, it is not to sign a new contract. And the one who won the contract is a member of VEMAC. So that's why
it's a member of the embossers.
Yes, that's why, because they've all bidded, those who went through the process, and one person emerged. So the whole attempt to shift it as if it is the current chief executive's initiation that brought in a new contract, that is not true. That's not the case. So he met a contract and decided to make input into it so that we enhance it and then enhance the safety and security of it. And that's what he's done. So chief executive did indicate that at a point when the members of VEMAC approached him, he connected them with the gentleman that won the contract so that they can see how best they can work together. And that the gentleman who won the contract is willing to meet them and work with them. And you are in the media space attacking the chief executive rather. So that's the challenge we're having. Okay. So it's not as if we've gone in, thrown them away and engaged somebody else. No, that's not the case.
So it means that a company has been engaged to manufacture the plates.
So you know that you could actually give a building contract to someone and the person can subcontract.
Subcontract.
Exactly. So if you need a subcontract, you engage the person who has won the contract.
What was the initial arrangement?
Oh no, I think the initial arrangement that had been in the system, it is still the same manufacturer who engages the embossers.
The embossers.
So what happens is that DVLA gives a certain guarantee because you see the manufacturer gives you some number of plates. Once you give the assurance of payment, you can also go ahead and engage them so that they know that once they are, the manufacturer is paid, they will be paid.
Okay.
So you can enter that MOU. By entering into an MOU and having it, it expires, and then I think the last one they had expired in December last year. So if there's anything to work out with, you do it with the manufacturer. Then based on the arrangement you've had, you can approach DVLA, and then maybe that undertaking could still be done. That's the point.
So it means that if the current plate we are seeing is being manufactured by this Omel, or he's here to do it because of the security.
Yes.
He's here to start
printing.
So
but he's gotten his equipment and every other thing because he needed to calibrate his systems to meet with what we seek to bring out.
So I saw a car, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, which was registered 2026. So these plates are being manufactured by these embossers?
Yes. So we are registering vehicles currently under the existing regime.
Okay.
As of last year. The regime as of last year. And so initially, if you check the designs we did, we were taking off the year of registration, and we did explain why. And then, so the new ones, if we had rolled out the 2026 plates originally as we intended, you wouldn't have seen the 26. So because we have not been able to go ahead with it, we have had to operate with the existing system. So that's why you saw the 26 registered plate. So that one is being done by the registration system that exists.
And those plates are manufactured by the embossers, or there's also still a manufacturer. That's different from Omel.
Who engages.
But that's different from Omel.
Omel is a member of the manufacturing group.
Okay.
Yes. So then they go ahead and then they do the embossments as well.
Okay.
For us.
So he's manufacturing part of the old ones that we're using now. Okay. But if I did my registration this year and I have 26, when you pass the amendment, I have to come for the new one and pay a new charge.
So that's why I said that. You see, there's difference between vehicle registration. So for someone who had bought a vehicle last year and hadn't registered, who comes in, he will do a registration of the vehicle.
Okay.
And it is in the registration process that a component of it
is for the
cost of the number plate.
Okay.
That's what it is. So when you come and we have to do the new one for you, the cost of the plate.
Okay.
As to whether the person will bear the full cost or it will be subsidized, management will make a decision on that and then we'll agree on what to do.
Oh, you've not taken a decision on it now?
Because the point is that you don't know the cost, like we said. So you need to put them before Parliament, get approval. Then you know that, okay, for those who registered in 2026 especially, because maybe they anticipated you to come. And again, we had to make room for the 2026 registration because we understood that it is not everybody who can run on a DV plate. Because for someone, maybe the car has been financed by a financial institution. And so it must be registered, there must be a title, somebody must hold a title, which can be transferred later. And so you need to give room for that person to register. And that is why you see the 2026 registration. So when we come out, it is not as if instantly in the year 2026 you are supposed to come back and make or to change your plate. We'll give ample time. It could be up to 2 years, for which reason you can take your time to then change the plate when the time comes.
Okay,
so it's not like a strict, instant
Okay.
changing of plate. Otherwise, even our offices will be congested. So we'll find a platform where we can do it on appointment basis. You can go in and then seek for a date that is appropriate. Then you have an appointment, you can come and do that with us.
Why does it take that much time if someone is even replacing a missing driver's license? I'm told it's 3 months or so.
Okay, so DVLA has varied or a line of services we offer. So you see, the institution need to innovate and find ways for those who can afford a little higher to pay, to hold those who cannot afford to pay the higher. So we do have regular services. So if you come to DVLA and you apply for a regular service, it's a 3-month period. Somebody may come and wants to do a prestige service or a premium service. Those ones are much fast-tracked. So for a replacement of a license, if you come and you want a prestige service, it could be done for you instantly.
Yeah.
Yes.
How much will that cost?
At head office. I think the cost is about 700 and something cedis. So you can imagine. And then for someone who may want to do the ordinary one, which is within about 300 and something, you can imagine. So we need to find a way of balancing the two.
So 700 can get me a license replaced.
Replaced. Not a new license. For new license, you need to go through a whole process.
Yes, I mean replacement.
Exactly, for replacement. If you come to head office, DVLA, and a few of all our category A offices, they allow you to do an instant service. And that you can get a license replaced for you instantly because you are a driver. We have certified that you can drive already and we give you a license. So if it's missing, we can replace it for you. Yeah. When you come through the normal, regular, standard service, it will take a little while for you to get it, but we deliver them.
Then I think you should do regular education of this. Because you see, some people would say, okay, it will cost you 800, but it will take 3 months.
Okay, so the point is this. We've noticed, and that is what keeps giving us a bad name. People, I don't know for what reason, DVLA is a state institution. You could walk in personally and engage us and take your service. Unfortunately, some people have found comfort in engaging people other than DVLA officials. So what we've done, you will realize that last year alone, we've opened 10 new offices. And then the whole agenda is to bring our services closer to the people of Ghana. And to what end, if after all these things that we've done, people will still go in and engage middlemen to acquire licenses. Look, if you engage a middleman to acquire a license and you have never been present at DVLA facility, 100%, you are not getting a license that is genuine. Because as part of the process, we need to take your biometrics.
Okay.
So if you apply for a license and you have never been to our office to even do your biometrics, 100% is a fake license you are getting. You understand? So our offices are so open that when you walk into any DVLA office now, there's a customer service desk. whatever challenge you have, whatever you need, speak to them. They will guide you as to who and who to see. So we always advise that now visit a DVLA office and engage an official strategic directly. And that, in that way, I mean, the person will help you generate an invoice. There's no way you go in, they will generate an invoice, and they will generate an invoice that contains a price other than what you have paid. So if you engage someone, you have given money to somebody, you pocket the rest of the money, and then only go in, generate an invoice, and then pay a minimal amount in what you have given him more than.
And then wait for 3 months. Interesting.
So I think those our viewers today, at least those who are watching us today, have
they have this.
Very important. Come to us directly. But if you need a prestige service delivered to you, head office is open. You can come at any time.
But if the person is so tight, right, and he wants to make use of the prestige services at the head office, isn't there any digital way he or she can take advantage of and get it done? When it comes to replacement, because as for that, he's already a driver.
The point is that you're already a driver. But then, to replace a license, it's just like we need to verify
that it's you.
That is you, because we took your biometrics.
Okay.
And you see, currently, we don't have a platform where biometric verifications can be done outside of our offices.
Okay.
When we are able to come up with that technology, that will be done.
Okay.
Chief Executive he's brought out a lot of concepts where he was even dreaming of having booths where a person can actually walk in and do a renewal. Because there, the system should be able, just like we do with ATMs. So when we get there and we are able to, we'll do it. But currently, the regime we have, because of the verification process, we need you physically to come. Then you can do it.
All right, Stephen, I'm grateful that you could pass through.
Thank you, Chief.
But maybe you have last message for our viewers.
All right, so there's one thing I needed to put across. Currently, for vehicles registered between 2023 to now, they've been digitally registered. So for anybody who has a vehicle registered around that time, he has a card. A smart card.
Okay.
And then he has title. You see, vehicle, the cost of vehicle today goes more than some parcels of land. You go for title on your land. The same way you must have title in your car.
Okay.
So you can call it your own. For those who have registered their cars before 2023, we are doing what we call onboarding, which means that we're giving you an opportunity to migrate your data onto a digital platform where you get a smart card and you get title to your car. That makes it easier when the time comes for us to enroll you onto the new plate. The RFID is just connected to your details, and then we are done. So take the opportunity, do the onboarding, visit our offices. Our officers are there to help you to do the onboarding. That is more of a digital registration. You have your card, and then you walk away being happy that you have title to your vehicle.
Your CEO is doing some amazing work. So regards to him.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Stephen Atu is the Director of Corporate Affairs at the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority. We'll still have more for you here on the AM show. Please do stay on. All right, welcome back to the show. Let's talk about another important matter that has been on the boards for some time now after the Constitutional Review Committee presented its report to the President. One of the issues that has been large on the minds of people has to do with Article 66, especially the clause 1. Because a lot of people say, if you look at the recommendation that the committee sent, they put some articles under entrenched provisions of the Constitution, some under semi-entrenched. But all of that two category does not have Article 66(1). So they are asking questions. What does that mean? Does that mean that Article 66(1) has become one that a simple majority of Parliament can just amend? We've been joined on the line by Nana Eje Bafwewa. He's MP for Mensha South and Vice Chair of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament. And I'm grateful to you for joining us this morning.
And Happy New Year to you, my brother.
How are you? I'm well. A great 2026 to you as well and your constituents.
Oh, thank you very much.
Great. Help me understand, if the committee says, or the committee lists certain provisions under entrenched and certain under semi-entrenched, do we assume that just because they left out Article 66(1), which the old or the current constitution prescribes as entrenched, it makes it vulnerable to a simple majority of Parliament amending it?
Thank you, my brother. The concluding paragraph of the relevant page of the proposal they put forward, says it all. If you look at page 126, right? Page 126 of their report, it is clear, it's self-explanatory. It says that the committee further recommends that all remaining provisions of the Constitution, not listed as entrenched or semi-entrenched, shall continue to be amended as non-entrenched provisions in accordance with the existing requirement of approval by not less than 2/3 of all members of Parliament. And so it's self-explanatory. You are either listed as entrenched or semi-entrenched. Otherwise, you fall into the category of non-entrenched. If you fall into the category of non-entrenched, all that is required to amend that provision is by way of 2/3 majority of Parliament. And so a simple exercise which is required is that read the category which they have stated or provided they are proposing, the committee is proposing as entrenched. Do you find Article 66 clause 1 there? It is not there.
Yeah.
When you go to the category that is listed
semi-entrenched.
Semi-entrenched. When you go there, it is even clearer, where they say that the entirety of Chapter 8, other than Articles 57 clause 1, Article 58, and then Article 66. Chapter 8 contains Article 66, and Article 66 clause 1 is part of Article 66, obviously. And so if you say other than simply means apart from, right, except. Yeah. And so it clearly means that under the semi-entrenched, Article 66 is also, the entirety of Article 66 is excluded. And since Article 66 clause 1 is a subset or a sub-provision of Article 66, it clearly tells you that Article 66 clause 1 is also not part of the semi-entrenched.
Yeah.
And so their concluding paragraph, which I just read from page 126, tells us where Article 66 clause 1 will be. And so if Article 66 clause 1 is now being proposed as a non-entrenched provision of the Constitution, what it will simply means is that if you go to the polls and you vote no to the amendment, the proposed amendment to extend the presidential term by a year, there's another way by which it can be done. That is Parliament doing so by way of 2/3 majority, right? So it's taken from the people, right, to Parliament. The other way which they may want to do this, and I've heard some of the people in support of the wholesale amendment of the Constitution say, is to first amend chapter 25, that is Article 290. When you amend Article 290, then then the Constitution would now become reclassified as being proposed into entrenched, semi-entrenched, and non-entrenched. That then would mean that Article 66 clause 1 wouldn't even come for referendum if that is successful. It will just go to Parliament for same to be amended by way of 2/3 majority. And so the whole thing is very, is quite sketchy. We have to be very careful. We have to be vigilant. We have to open our minds. We have to open our eyes. Ours is to educate the public for them to know what has been put before them and, make the right choices. We shouldn't forget that the report itself was submitted to the president without explanatory notes. And so even in analyzing the report, even though we know what is being proposed, we don't know what is justifying the proposal. Okay? And that makes it difficult to make an informed choice. However, nothing stops us also from analyzing the proposal For instance, we are asking ourselves what has necessitated even the proposal to amend Chapter 25 of the Constitution. When you read it, it's clear that by the opinion of the committee, they want to make amendments easy. Why do you want to make amendments easy when we have not had problems with amendment of the Constitution? When we wanted to amend the citizenship, the provision of the Constitution regulating citizenship, we did it easily. We didn't have a problem, did we? So why do you want to touch this? Because if we are not careful and we are not very diligent, some of the things we may lose sight of them and they will come back to haunt us. For instance, this particular amendment which is being proposed in the case of Article 66, Clause 1, if you are not paying attention, you might not even look at it because it may appear too technical. And so you need a lot of time to go through the provisions.
Okay.
And if you don't do, if we are not too diligent or we don't find people willing to spend the time and energy to go through it, some of these things.
The freezing wind cuts through Gaza's camps, leaving families desperate for warmth. But with your help, we can change that.
I've seen it happen in countries like Ivory Coast. We've seen it happen in countries like Togo. And so that is why I've stated that, look, we need to be careful. We need to look at provisions that we have had problems with in the last 30 years. Right?
But, I mean, you represent the people of Menchia South, right?
Yes, please.
It is accepted that majority of the people voted for you. And therefore, your vote carries that of the majority of the people in Menchia South.
Yes.
What is wrong if we say you speak on behalf of the people of majority of the people of Menchia South and decide whether or not we should amend certain things? What if that is the thinking of the committee?
It is wrong.
Okay.
You see, there are things which are so weighty that the forum for discussion should not be in Parliament. Things that can easily break our democracy. You understand? These are the protections that we have in our Constitution that secure our democracy. And so it should not be for parliamentarians. It should be for the people. It is not there for the fanciful nature of it. Okay? It is there for a purpose. It is there to ensure that nobody does anything that will risk destroying our democracy. Because, look, presidents, if you recall, President Kufuor, before he left office, said left him alone, the tenure of office will be extended. If you look at the trappings of office of a president, most presidents, obviously the evidence abound, would want to even stay in office forever. Okay? And most party people, okay, would also want their party to be in power forever. And so some of these things, you shouldn't leave it to politicians to decide. It should be for the people. And so it is not something that should be decided upon by the representatives of the people. No, it should be by the people. It shouldn't go to the representatives of the people if we want to continue securing our democracy, especially since the abundant evidence is that where these provisions have been tempered with in other countries, they have caused problems. In recent times, there was a coup d'etat in Benin, except that it didn't succeed. Not long after the presidential term had been extended from 5 years to 7 years. So there's empirical evidence to confirm that issues concerning presidential terms are very sensitive. And for such sensitive matters, you don't leave it to members of parliament. It should be one that should carry the spirit of the people by way of their say, by way of their having a say in it, so that there is whenever somebody even decides to tamper with the Constitution, the people will now rise up against the person. But if you leave it with the people in Parliament, the MPs in Parliament, and it doesn't have the support of the people, if someone tampers with the Constitution, the people will not defend the Constitution.
Okay. But you make the argument that if we vote no at the referendum, Parliament, if these recommendations are passed, Parliament can then amend it by using the easiest way. But looking at how politicians fear the citizenry, I mean, I use fear advisedly. Do you think when people have voted no in referendum, the politician will go through Parliament to say, I still want to go against the citizens?
It may not be now. It may not be now. Constitutions are not made for today. They are also made for the future. So the president today may decide that, look, the people have voted no this time. And so if I go against the will of the people, it can be dangerous. But a future president may take advantage of it. And given that constitutions are not made for today, but for the future, we shouldn't leave any stone unturned. We should not leave loopholes for people to take advantage of them in the future. Right? Because, yes, sir.
This is with the president now, right? We're waiting for the government to release its white paper on it. What do you think should occupy the thinking of the president with all these things that you are bringing up?
These are very necessary, especially since the report was even sent to the president without explanatory notes. I understand it will be sent later. Question is, why was there even the rush to send a report to the president when the explanatory note was not ready? Why was there even the rush? Because, I mean, why do you send a report to the president in piecemeal? That for me is even worrisome, and it's indicative of some, if you like, some degree of incompleteness in terms of the work of the committee. I don't want to use the word deficiency, but allow me, for want of a better word, to use the word incompleteness on the part of the committee.
But when you read the recommendations, does that come to you that this is an incomplete work?
Well, I've put this out. This is the second point I've put out so far. I'll be releasing them in bits and pieces, right? I believe that when the explanatory notes come out, right, some of them will be able to do more. But look, I think that we need to be careful. A constitution is like the human body. The provisions of the constitution is the sum of the organs of a human body.
Okay.
When you want to amend, it's just like you wanting to perform a transplant on the human body. If you are not careful, parts of the transplant may be rejected by the human body, and that is what may cause chaos in the system.
Okay.
And that is why you have heard, for instance, that somebody has undergone, let's say, kidney transplant, and the body has rejected it, or liver transplant, and the body has rejected it. That's the way Constitution also works. We are very fortunate as a country to have had a constitution that has worked for 30 years. Other constitutions, immediately you propagate them, not long after, there is fire outbreak in terms of war in the country. We saw that in Kenya. We saw that, for instance, in Ivory Coast, where at some point they were advocating for power sharing and so on and so forth. And so we have been very fortunate to have a constitution that could work, a constitution which even the founding president, right, upon the expiration of his term, decided to step down and not insist on continuing. So we have been very fortunate. If we are going to touch anything, it should be something that in the last 30 years has been problematic.
So what do you expect the president to do? Because he's the one we're waiting for now.
I expect the president to take his time. This can result in a make or break situation for this country, the proposals. So the president should take his time. He should not be rushed. I've heard some people say that the president doesn't even need to issue a white paper on it. The president should carry it through, push it to the next level for implementation. In the light of these things that are coming up, the president should take his time right, and have it reviewed and take a position on it before forwarding it to a working committee, an implementation committee, which will see to the implementation. In the light of some of these things that are coming up, we have to be careful.
Will the minority take any action on it?
The minority committee, we are still reviewing it. This is on a personal level. The minority committee would officially come out with its position. But because some people want this report to be expedited, the work on this committee to be expedited, even without a white paper, some of us have decided to also work around the clock to draw the nation's attention to the pitfalls in the proposal. That is why we are undertaking the.
Nana, I'm grateful to you for this morning.
I'm so grateful for having me.
Nana Ejebafwewa is the MP for Menchia South and the Vice Chair of Parliament Subsidiary Legislation Committee. This is still the AM show. We'll take a break here. We will return with more.
Together for sustainable development. Thank you so much. Good morning and a happy new year.
Good morning and happy new year to you and your listeners.
Thank you so much. Has your new year started quite well?
Very well. We got the planning stages well underway. And so tomorrow, participants have started arriving from all around the country. And His Excellency, the President of the Republic, tomorrow will officially open the school for us to begin the real business.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say that the theme for this year is building the Ghana we want together for sustainable development.
Yeah.
Break it down for us.
Well, for the last 76 years, the University of Ghana had championed national development through consensus building, collaborative and partnership development through the platform of the annual New Year School. The University of Ghana not only builds human capital for industry, it also influences national development agenda. And so for the last 76 years, dating back to 1948, when this whole birth of the annual New Year School came into being, the University of Ghana has consistently organized an annual New Year School that brings together thought leadership in academia, political industry, civil society organization to rally around the nation around a specific topical issue that is endeared to the development of this nation. The goal is to build consensus around national development agenda, an inclusive platform that takes in the position and shades of all society in Ghana. And so, as I said earlier, we're having participants from all across the country to converge at the University of Ghana, where we'll discuss this critical subject of building the Ghana we want for sustainable development. When we talk about sustainability, we are talking about inclusivity.
Okay.
When we're talking about sustainability, we are talking about partnership. Our world has evolved and grown in such a way that if you don't develop key partnership, you are not able to achieve your developmental goals. And so as a nation, we need to rethink our development agenda by bringing all shades together so we can bridge the gap between the North and the South, the have and have-nots, the privileged and the underprivileged, the poor and the wealthy, so that collectively we can build a nation that belongs to each and every one of us.
I see that in the objectives, you say that explore ways to build a vibrant and resilient economy that safeguards national growth and prosperity for all Ghanaians. You have just said that. Examine the potential of human capital development initiatives to promote inclusive growth in Ghana.
Yeah.
You have also said that identify the contributions of key anti-corruption institutions to fighting corruption and promoting good governance in Ghana. Now, that has my attention because the fourth one as well sits in the first and second one. Now, the third one, the stakeholders that are going to be having this conversation, are they duly represented here? Will we see that anti-corruption?
Yes, the stakeholders are duly represented. Civil society is key on this agenda. IDEC, represented by Dr. Emmanuel Korte will be in attendance. Also, Dr. Kojo Asante of CDD would also be in attendance, dealing with that particular subject of dealing with corruption.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see that Monday 5 to Thursday 8th January 2026. Explain. Is it a number of days and each day with its activity?
Each day had its own activity. Today's arrival of participants and delegates all across the country.
How many are you expecting?
We usually, our attendance at the New Year school, it's about 400 to 500, give or take.
Who attend? Who is qualified to attend?
All Ghanaians are qualified. As I said, it's a national agenda we're trying to develop, build consensus, and so the goal is to formulate influence national policy development for national development.
Okay.
And so everybody is qualified to attend. So from academia, civil society organization, business leaders, farmers, teachers, doctors, TUC, are going to be well represented at this forum to bring their thoughts and ideas as to how together we can develop critical policies that will influence national development.
And to Great Hall?
That is for tomorrow. His Excellency the President will formally open the school.
Okay.
When he opens the school, before he opens the school, there's going to be a keynote speaker.
Okay.
Dr. Ismail Yamson will be the keynote speaker on this very subject. He has previously spoken on the theme Ghana Beyond Aid. And so each year we look at critical, topical issues that is relevant to Ghanaians. So Dr. Yamson will be speaking to that subject. We have a lineup of very distinguished statesmen and women who will be making remarks to the subjects in that regard. And then in the afternoon, we will begin the real conference at the ISA Conference Center, where we'll begin to look at the key sub-themes, as you've mentioned. Various groups will be dealing with the various thematic areas. And then we'll go into discussion, and then at the end of the day, we come up with a communique that we present to government to influence policy development.
All right. Dr. Andrews Jack Doche is Executive Director, University of Ghana Annual New Year School. And this is a special invitation to you to be part of this very important conversation that shapes the development of our country. Doc, thank you so much for joining us, and all the best on the days for this event.
We are grateful for the opportunity. As you rightly said, this is an invitation to the whole of Ghana. Please come, let's sit around the table, let's think together, let's formulate ideas together, let's agree together, let's reshape our nation for sustainable development. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Well, this is how we wrap the show for today. However, on a sad note, I will be crossing you over to the final funeral rite for the late former Member of Parliament,